More than 7 years ago, the city of Airway Heights and Fairchild Air Force Base learned their water was contaminated with PFAS. And we now know Spokane's International Airport also knew way back then it had the same issue, but never told anyone. The result, hundreds unknowingly continued to drink contaminated water. Thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 6. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney is off tonight. Tonight, KREM 2 investigates why didn't it alert the public and why did it take citizen sleuths digging up documents to reveal the truth. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy spoke with one neighbor who helped bring it all to light.
In his West Spokane pastures, Craig Volosing's personal paradise.
I think these horses may be just too curious. They're really friendly.
Is contained.
Always wanted to be with horses, and so this was the place for me.
A peaceful haven until 2017. When per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, were detected in Airway Heights water and private wells, traced back to firefighting foam used at Fairchild Air Force Base. The same foam, Volosing knew, used at Spokane International Airport, just miles southwest of his home.
2018, we had our well tested here, and it was negative. But I told my wife, it's coming, and it did.
Up until earlier this year, it was believed this problem only impacted people on the west side of this arbitrary boundary, Hayford Road. It wasn't until concerned citizens later dug up the airport on the opposite side was testing its own wells and finding similar issues.
Found they had PFAS, plenty of it, and chose to say nothing.
Citizen-initiated public records requests turned up the airport's own test results from 2017 and 2019, showing the contamination. PFAS weren't listed as hazardous and thus state-regulated until 2021. That's when SIA had a legal responsibility to report the findings, but it didn't.
No, we didn't know until it was reported, like you said, by a concerned citizen in 2023.
Nicholas Acklam of Eastern Washington's Toxic Cleanup Program shared the complaint made in March 2023. The Department of Ecology has since tested 411 wells east of Hayford Road.
And about 65% of those had concentrations above our action levels.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a significant number. And we're working as fast as we can.
And we are 7 years behind. This could have started back in 2017 and 18, but didn't. And the question remains just why.
An August site assessment identified around a dozen points where firefighting foam was used or stored. Working under an ecology enforcement order, SIA must sample the dirt and groundwater at each site before any cleanup can begin.
Average is about 12 years. But that's average. This is a pretty complex site, so it certainly could take longer.
Ecology is still trying to determine the true scope and scale of the airport contamination and where the chemicals have traveled.
So that's really the first step. It's really hard to design a feasibility study until you know the full nature and extent of where your contamination is.
Volosing's well tested PFAS positive early this year.
Typical pump house.
What used to be a source of pride, fresh drinking water has been replaced with bottled jugs.
That's provided to us happily by the Department of Ecology and EPA as a stopgap.
Though the well still flows to their greenhouse and livestock. Volosing says the cattle they raise for customers has, so far, tested negative. Though he's curious how these chemicals may be impacting other lives in his paradise.
And see if they've got any PFAS in their systems. Good.
As he waits to see whether this problem will finally be contained. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.